Many blessings to all of you. How are you? I hope that you guys are doing really well. It's been a long time since I've made a video. I'm sorry that I haven't taken the time to connect. I've been really busy. The Holiday Holistic Expo is finally behind us, and it was amazing, but also a lot of work. And of course, the office and the holidays and preparing for all of that. So please forgive me for not staying consistent. I was doing good for a while. A couple of videos, for a week or two, some weeks ago, and then it got really busy. But I wanted to take the time, especially on the eve of the winter solstice, to connect and to share my view, my understanding, or at least my practice of what some of the things that the winter solstice represent to me, wanting to share that, and of course loving to hear what it may represent for you. I always advocate that there's never a right or wrong, but more so what resonates with us, what feels right, and so I would love to hear what your comments on what feels right for you in regards to the winter solstice. I'm sitting with one of my favorite incense, which is the Nag Champa, and I am feeling inspired to just light up an incense as we open up the field. We call upon the energy of the earth and of the four elements to support us and to surround us with luminous light and energy, clarity and direction, and to assist us in releasing. And we use the breath as an amazing tool for exactly that. I've probably spoken about this in some of the videos, excuse me, some of the videos that I've done with Loon in the Emerald Paradigm, that the breath is such an important healing tool. If we take a moment to be the observer, we recognize that the breath is the energy of the life force within us, and when we use that, we can utilize the life force to also exhale and to release any debris, any emotional debris, any cords, any suppressed emotion, whether it's conscious or subconscious. And in doing so, in incorporating the prana force, the breath, we actually are using the vital force to recycle the energy within ourselves, within our temple, in our minds, in our emotions, and in doing so, that breath can bring us into a place of balance and equilibrium. Yes? Beautiful exhale. Allow yourself to fully exhale. And it should be very exaggerated, because that exhale is actually allowing the movement. So don't be afraid to take a beautiful inhale and allowing that energy to recycle and to move through you. Yes? I was sick a few days ago, actually. Well, that's the physical word, sick, but I was purging, and it's interesting. I've noticed a pattern, and that every time I am scheduled to do some type of initiation, whether it be for the apprenticeships or some kind of shamanic initiation or even a workshop, just before, a day or hours before the body begins to do a purging, and it does manifest in some discomfort in the physical body. And on Sunday at the expo, I was offering, my workshop was on shamanic healing and purification, and the night before the expo, I actually started to experience, discomfort and digestive issues. And on the morning of the expo, with 50 plus light workers, under the, my responsibility and hundreds of people coming, I was not well. The chills and just knowing that something was moving through me, and just the knowingness that that's what it was, in order to be as clear as I could for the offering of the purification, was enough to keep me, able to do and move through the day and do a wonderful purification, of which Loon was part of. And by the way, she's moving through a purging right now. And so, we have to laugh and all the while have reverence. And I share that because it's important. We do this healing work, whether we do it individually within ourselves or we're working with a mentor. And, we're excited and we do, rituals, but we also have to have an understanding that, we're asking and getting permission for the pranic life force and the Mother Divine, which is one, to move through us. And, in order to receive that insight or wisdom or knowledge, the enhancement of our gifts and our abilities, we need to be clear, or as clear as we can. And so we just need to be mindful, without being afraid or hesitant, that when we are stepping in to say, I'm ready, that we may experience, a day or a couple of hours or maybe more than a couple of days of, purging. And that may come in, physical manifestation, digestive issues, headaches, it come in a little bit of anxiety. It can manifest in different ways, but it's so important to know that it's a purging process, and especially if you have opened yourself up to, purification, or you've done a ritual, and to know that even though it's uncomfortable at the moment, that it's actually harnessing you to receive that beautiful flow of cosmic and high vibrational energy, and all it's doing is getting rid of the gunk. Yes? And so it's uncomfortable, but there's a reward. So I know a lot of you, of the subscribers who follow my channel, are also huge fans of Loon. And so we send her beautiful light, as we know that she will be well. Yes, I wanted to share that. And so what is the winter solstice to me, speaking of purging, Well, it is known as the longest day of the calendar year, and it's also known as, ironically, it's a paradox. It's the longest night, right, in the dark, and yet it's when winter begins as well. And so, but to me, it represents a very big day of day and night of reflection, of being the observer and allowing yourself to honor and to have reverence for all that you have experienced through, the cycle that has led you to the winter solstice, and to celebrate all of those moments, especially in my opinion, those that have challenged you, because in spite of it all, you've prevailed. You've reached the winter solstice, which is purification, a release of, coming into reflection with the shadow parts of your experiences, and knowing that they needed to be part of your path and experiences in order to get you to this 0 point, which is a new dawn, a new beginning. And so I think it's really important that we reflect and that we render forgiveness and surrender whatever feelings we may have that are not in alignment with forgiveness, you know, trying to control or feeling like we need to justify, just letting it go and realizing that it was part of the experience that has brought you to this place. And that's where the crossroad comes, you know. Well, we may choose not to let it go, which means that now we'll have to carry that. And if we choose to not let it go and carry those energies that are heavy, then we're not going to have the space to receive the new energy and vibrations of the new dawn. So I don't know about you, but I think the choice is clear, you know. And it's not always easy to give up, you know, to give those things, those experiences, those wounds, the pain that we hold or that we have a memory of. And that brings me to a question that one of the viewers actually posted in the comments during the last video, of asking if I could comment on child trauma. I believe it was Lady Lazuli. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And how do we address, you know, childhood trauma? How do we move forward from that? Are we destined to carry that for the rest of our experience here? And I'm going to quickly say absolutely not. And it's a serious, you know, subject that we really need to take a stance on, because there's many of us, most of us, at one point or another, who have experienced some kind of childhood trauma. There are a few who are lucky and may have not had some kind of traumatic experience. But I say that for the most part we do, in different degrees. But then you have that group, and I want to say that a lot of them are ascendant ones who have had horrific childhood experiences, memories, and traumas. And why I say that they're ascendant ones is, A, because it would take a very strong soul to undertake and undergo a lot of that trauma, and to be able to persevere and move beyond it. And two, because it is part of the agreement, believe it or not, that a lot of the ascendant ones made. And again, as I share in a lot of my videos, especially in the Emerald Paradigm, I share very bluntly, this is my divine truth. Over the years of the many avatars and ascended teachers that I've had from the cosmos, have given me this as instruction to teach others. But of course, there's never an obligation, and you take what resonates, and please do not let me be the influence. But if this speaks to you, of course, then I invite you to explore it further. But why would the ascendant ones agree then to take on this burden of having traumatic experiences in their childhood? Well, this is part of the mystery teachings. One reason why they agreed to undergo such trauma is because they knew that they could handle it. Being ascended souls, being old souls, they knew that maturity and that realization that existed within them would be triggered, hopefully, by the traumatic experiences, and that in the midst of those traumas, they would have a deeper calling into the awakening part. And so it is, you know, an initiation in that it could go either way, you know. Even as an ascendant one, they could succumb to, you know, to the wounds, to the trauma, to the pain. But having that being a matured ascended soul, they knew that they would be triggered, that they would have the choice, and that the traumas would actually act as initiations to awaken them. Now it sounds, like, wow, I wouldn't sign up for that. And trust me, I said that many times throughout my awakening. But today I clearly not only can see, but I'm so ever grateful, truly, for the extensive trauma that I experienced as a child, from being molested to being raped, to living with alcoholics, parents, and just everything, and losing a daughter as well. I could clearly look at the camera, and hopefully you could see the authenticity in saying that I see it all. And I'm grateful that I was able to prevail, and I see those experiences as catalysts that challenged me. And even though on a physical level, once in a while, at least with the crossing of my daughter, I have an emotional feeling, of course, I have no other attachment to any other of the traumas, because I clearly have been graced enough to see how each one of those led me to a choice. And the choice was to succumb or to prevail. And so that's one of the reasons why we experience childhood trauma. The other reason is because as a collective, we may not like this, but as a collective, again, as ascended ones, we volunteered to be part of this incredible ascension here on Earth. And we knew that there was a lot of karmatic energy that needed to be transmuted in that process of getting the new, the earth realm into the new realm. And so many of us agreed to take on this huge load of karmatic debris to transmute it, because in doing so, because we're all one, the transmutation of that karmatic would help heal and accelerate the ascension process. And so I hope that you allow yourself, Lady Lazuli, and everyone else who is viewing, to see that the experiences, the traumatic experiences that we have are not a punishment. It's not because we're cursed or because we don't deserve happiness, but really a true validation to our soul maturity, and to the courageous essences that we are, and the loving, unconditional loving beings that we are, that we volunteered and say, yes, give it to me, and yes, I'll carry it, and yes, I'll endure it, not only for our own ascension and awakening, but also so that we can take the platform of being a reflection, and to step into those roles of being the inspiration, the guides, the healers, the mentors, the teachers, the everything for others through our example. So I know that it's easier said than done. What can we do? Is be the observer, to see what those experiences, what are they offering us to develop? Is it patience? Is it compassion? The ability to forgive, to embrace our empowerment, to have a voice. These are all part of the gifts that come when we are able to reconcile with the traumas of our childhood. And of course, forgiveness is a huge part of it. Forgiveness, I've shared this again in part of the Emerald Paradigm, but it's worth repeating again and again. Forgiveness is not about letting somebody off the hook or giving someone permission. It is about recognizing that it had a place, that it had a message, that it had a gift, and hopefully, now that we can see that, to honor the soul, for allowing us to, for them to engage in their role in the interaction of the lesson, of the awakening, and forgiving them and thanking them actually for being part of that trigger, so that then we can move forward. And a lot of people, I know that over the last 20 something plus years that I've done this work, that's the challenge. They get stuck there in not allowing themselves to offer forgiveness. I have spoken about a powerful exercise that I've written in every one of my books. I've written 16. I think I've included this exercise in at least 14 of those books. It's a very simple exercise, but very powerful. It is called Pardon Letters, and it's a very profound and transformative exercise where we start by making a list of the people that we feel have hurt us, that have betrayed us, that have abandoned us, and that list could be lengthy. And once we compose that list, we look at the top hitters, like using a scale of 1 to 5, like the 4s and the 5s, people that really, trigger us to feel the pain and, to feel the anger. And once we've established who those people are, then we start slowly, one by one, and we compose a pardon letter to those individuals. And it sounds easier, it's easier said than done. It's not easy. It's not. But nobody said healing work and awakening work was easy, and yet it is so rewarding, because we need to do this work in order to get to that next level of ascension. Anyway, you're allowed to puke and to express whatever you need to. So if you want to say, I hate you, and you did this, and you abandoned me, and I can't stand you, and you're allowed to, and it could be as lengthily as it needs to be, as long as at the end or at some point through the composition of that initial pardon letter, maybe you'll have to write it 3 or 4 times before you get to that final, I'm ready to forgive you, I need to forgive you, because I am ready to experience wellness, wholeness, healing, and I know I need to do this, so I send you my love, light, and I forgive you. When we reach that point, and only when we reach that point, is when we can really experience the rewards of that release, and we start to see amazing transformative changes and shifts happen. Of course, when I do this work, working one-on-one with individuals, I insist on seeing the letters, and the reason why I do is because a lot of times we have the true intention to compose the letters, and we do, but we don't complete the entire process, which is radical forgiveness. And so I've noticed through the years that if left to their own devices, some people will write the letters and then they'll say, you know what, that didn't work because I'm still angry, because I still feel stuck, because I still this and that. And I started to realize that a lot of people just don't complete that radical forgiveness part, which is so important. And so if this is something, if this is a commitment that, calls to you, maybe you want to consider, having a distance session with me. I offer those, or a phone session, or even an email interaction, but just so that, I can help in leading you to that completed phase, because it's really important. And the process is guarantee proof, but we need to complete it, and we need to go through that process, like the purging that I did on Sunday, or that Luna's doing, and that we all have to do to get to those higher levels. If we have debris and yet we have the intention of holding a high vibrational purified light, then we need to let go of the gunk. No shortcuts. And so, again, for the viewer who asked, what do we do? You may consider doing a regimen of the pardon letters, and once you've completed them, you know, if you feel that you've gotten to that radical forgiveness phase, you know, one way that we know is we immediately feel different. We feel lighter. We feel like we've lost weight. You know, we feel very open, and it's just really amazing. But again, it's one of my fortes in the work that I do, and it's one of the aspects of the work that I'm so very proud of seeing thousands of countless of thousands of people transform their lives from doing pardon letters. Yes, and of course a lot more is encompassed in, you know, in our evolution, but is this a vital part? Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And so, you know, as we talk again about the winter solstice and the reflection and the shadow and the dark, you know, the longest night is about letting go of those shadows, of those memories, of feeling a need to hold on to something that doesn't serve us. Maybe we feel justified. Sometimes we feel like we need to hold on to something heavy in order to protect us, protect ourselves. But don't let that fool you if you believe that, because really it's serving as walls. You know, it's not helping us. It may help us in the beginning, you know, as we're, you know, say for example, we break up from, you know, in a relationship, and we put up walls to kind of protect ourselves. That may need to be necessary for a little bit until we, you know, allow that rawness to heal. But we can't keep up those walls forever, because now we're blocking ourselves. And a lot of people wonder, why can't they attract, you know, a new partner, a new job? Why are they always experiencing, you know, low vibrational experiences or encounters? It is not that we're jinxed. It is not that we're cursed. It is that most likely we have emotional debris, and we're holding on to that, and that is obstructing us from experiencing a higher or different frequency. And so I'm a stickler about the work. And I'm glad that I am that way, because again, I've seen so many thousands of countless of beautiful souls go from being very stuck and very in pain and very lost, to being lit, and to being light, and to being in alignment with their purpose. And it doesn't have to take years to go through this process. It takes very short period of time, and it's very tangible and very rewarding. Yes. And so I hope that this sharing has helped in some way, and perhaps, you know, you've done a lot of the work. And so if you have, and you're feeling in that wonderful place, blessings to you. And maybe you just need to take it light in this winter solstice, the celebration of it, and just take an exhale, and knowing that you've gotten to this new peak of a new dawn, and celebrate yourself, and leave behind anything that was unpleasant, anything that wasn't in alignment with your goals, with your intentions. Have gratitude for it. It served you in some way, and empty the container. And once you do, then you'll be able to really assimilate the new energies, not only of the full moon, but of the solstice and the new dawn that is upon us. Yes? I'm so glad that we had this time to connect. And again, I'm sorry that I was gone for so long. And actually, Loon and I had tentatively scheduled to do an Emerald Paradigm, but because we are purging. I was purging, and now she's sort of in the middle of purging. We're sort of tentatively leaving it to see if we could just kind of pop in over the next couple of days. So look out for that. And of course, I always invite you to my website. There's a lot of goodies in there. I am doing an intensive apprenticeship for those who've asked, because the last three that I offered over the last year were Friday evenings. And so I developed an intensive that I'm going to be offering beginning January 12th. It's once a month in different levels. So level 1 and 2 will be January 12th. Level 2 and 3 will, if the initiates are called to continue. I don't remember the date exactly, but in February will be the second module. And then there's initiation and the certification in March for the apprenticeship. So 3 months, once a month on Saturdays. And I think it's 10 to 4 or 11 to 4. If you happen to be in the tri-state area, I know there's been so much inquiries about the apprenticeships that I offer, and as of this moment, I'm still not feeling that it's something that I could do through videos or online. There has to be a physical interaction. You know, it's so very important, the tribe, the connection. But I am trying very hard at work to see if I can offer something close, which is perhaps like online videos, and not offer the apprenticeship, but just a training. And so if you guys are interested in, you know, that's something that you may like to be a part of course, let me know, because you'll inspire me to put it together. And thank you so very much to the wonderful supporters of my Patreon page. I'm so ever grateful. Thank you so much. And there's special little things there. I haven't updated it recently, but there's special videos there, readings, and thank you for supporting me and allowing me to offer those inspirational callings of videos and readings to you. I really appreciate it. And of course to you all for supporting me here on YouTube. I love you all so very much. And if there is another subject that you would like me to address, please don't hesitate to leave your comments in the comments section, and I would be happy to do what I can. In the meantime, as always, especially during this solstice, I leave you with my love, with my light, and with my peace. I hope that you are in attunement with the longest day of reflection, and that you are so eager and ready to receive the gifts of the new dawn. Yes? Love you so very much. Many blessings to you. Bye-bye.